Committee, which will depose Devon Archer tomorrow. And she joins us now. Congressman, welcome. What do you hope, and what do you hope the committee will hear from Devon Archer when he sits down with the committee tomorrow?
Well, we're just trying to get to the bottom of this and find out the truth for the American people. So we're each going to have 2 hours. And really what's going to happen is counsel on each side is going to run through that with Devon. But, when you hear about all of this rhetoric that goes back and forth, specifically on the side of the Democrats, where they're basically trying to say that Hunter Biden had no ties or any way sold access to his father. And then you see the evidence that we've seen brought forward, whether it's through the IRS whistleblowers, whether it's through the FBI documents, even having the FBI redact those documents, or whether it's through testimony like this, you realize that this president is indeed compromised. And it further leads me to believe that there will be an impeachment inquiry before the next election.
Federal prosecutors had investigated all of this under the Trump administration, for example. Former Attorney General Bill Barr, passed apparently on this type of information and found nothing. The president, as you know, has denied any wrongdoing or said he was involved in Hunter's business at all. So what has changed in all this, in your view?
Well, the DOJ, the FBI, and the IRS don't pass the smell test. From what I'm seeing, if this were you or I or anyone watching this show currently that has done even a fraction of what Hunter Biden did, or even a fraction of what Joe Biden did, I would be in jail, and most of us would be. So the fact is that I believe, based on what I'm seeing, that these appointees are running interference and essentially protecting not only Hunter Biden, but President Biden as well from us being able to fully do our job, which is exactly why so many Republicans are now calling for an impeachment inquiry, because it seems as though that's going to be the only way that we'll actually be able to get the evidence that we need to see what's really going on here.
Yeah, let me know. You say a fraction of what Joe Biden did. Respectfully, Congresswoman, there's no evidence that Joe Biden did anything. I mean, there's no evidentiary, concrete investigation of anything that he did that was wrong that is so far on the record, other than these accusations.
Well, unfortunately, we do have people that are testifying that he was there and present and that he met with foreign leaders basically to help his son, which is selling access. But the problem that we're having is that we're not even able to fully conduct these investigations because we are being stonewalled. So when you have appointed positions by a Democrat president that's interfering with the congressional investigation, that's definitely cause for us to think not only are, one, we on the right trail here, but also, two, if they really had nothing to hide, then why go through all the trouble to really stonewall us every step of the way?
Do you think Hunter Biden should have registered as a foreign agent? Do you feel that if he's dealing with these foreign companies, if he, as it will be claimed tomorrow, his father was allegedly on the telephone with some of these people, that there was something really going on here, and that the feds have missed part of this?
Most definitely. I think that would have been the legal thing for him to do. And also, too, mind you, he also wasn't paying any of the taxes on some of these massive deals that he was getting. And we heard that from the previous testimony from those IRS whistleblowers that came forward. So, again, there is a double standard that exists here in the justice system. And I understand, look, I'm a Republican, and I understand my Democrat colleagues might have a differing of opinion here. But the whole point of House oversight and accountability is to ensure, one, that we are looking into this, and also, two, that we're bringing some shred of credibility back to the DOJ, the FBI, and the IRS. And right now, I'm just telling you, based on what I'm seeing with evidence, partisan politics aside, we are compromised. This is not okay, and it should not be happening in this country.
What do you think is going to happen?
Well, hopefully, based on tomorrow's testimony, if we hear that there's going to be, and Devon Archer sits down and states, yes, Joe Biden was president. I mean, we have to really ultimately see what his testimony is going to be. But I think that that's going to open up a whole new can of worms. But again, going back to some comments that Speaker McCarthy made and really what other Republicans have called for, I do believe, based on what we're seeing, that we potentially have grounds for an impeachment inquiry. And until we can actually investigate without being stonewalled, I don't think that we're going to actually be able to get to the bottom of this. Frankly, I would like to know the truth, because if we are wrong, then ultimately I don't want to be wasting people's time. But that's just not the case based on what I'm seeing. Yeah,
and I imagine, obviously, you have to investigate to find out if it's wrong or right. Finally, you mentioned the Democrats. When the Democrats were in control of the House and the Oversight Committee, they launched an investigation of Jared Kushner and that $2 billion investment in his fund by the Saudis. Should there be, do you think, for first families, some new ethics rules? I mean, you know, remember Billy Carter? He actually registered as a foreign agent for Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. Should there be some way to deal with, you know, the first families? Who knows what the President Biden's brother or any family member, whether it's President Biden, President Trump, or any first family can be involved in? I mean, is there something that can be done in terms of these ethics guidelines that can potentially prevent some of this in the future?
I think so. You know, I'm in a curious situation because I actually just went through and did my FEC disclosure. And I even have to report, you know, my husband's positions and any stocks that he owns. So I think that the laws for Congress, especially in regards to the first families, are a little bit outdated and we need to update those. But the fact is that, I mean, this case in particular, I think is very interesting because you have a lot of smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire, that is pointing to potentially someone selling their official position. And that's something that's an absolute no-no in any position, whether you're in Congress, Senate, or the White House. And so I'd be interested in looking at that anyways, though, and updating that accordingly.
Yeah, and we will hear and learn a lot more about this tomorrow because the chairman says that he will release the full transcript of Mr. Archer's testimony. So we are going to read everything tomorrow. We'll just see. Congresswoman Paulina Luna of Florida. Congresswoman, thank you for joining us, and we welcome you back to fill us in on what you guys learned.
Thank you.